I wasn't sure whether to make this video or not, but people told me that I had nothing to be ashamed of and I hadn't done anything wrong, so you'll have to bear with me as we go through it. I was 11 years old when my dad sadly passed away after having complications with heart surgery. So it was just me, my mum and my two elder brothers, well, sort of stepbrothers because we didn't have the same dads. I just turned 11 and my dad had passed away. So going through such a traumatic, as it was, very traumatic experience in my life, you'd think that and assume that your mum would be there for you. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I remember it was myself, my auntie and my uncle that had to arrange my dad's funeral because basically my mum couldn't be bothered. So that responsibility was left down to me at 11 years old. But the thing that sticks out the most for me is stood at my dad's graveside after they'd lowered his coffin in, and I was stood all on my own, absolutely devastated and heartbroken, and my mum wasn't there to comfort me. She was too busy with my two older siblings. Now, I can't even put into context how difficult that is to stand and watch your best friend, your hero, being lowered into a grave. Now, bearing in mind, like I said, I was 11 years old, so I hadn't actually had any prior experience to death and grief and, you know, all the sort of stuff that comes with it. Anyway, I'd say 2, maybe 3 weeks after my dad had died, my mum started dating other men. A finer way of putting it. And the one night I took exception to this, and I gave my mum some very choice words. Very choice for an 11-year-old. But anyway, at the time I remember we were stood in the kitchen, and up on the wall she had ornamental wooden spoon and fork. I'm talking they were quite big, heavy and chunky. And I remember she said to me, what was I trying to say? And so I told her straight, you know, my dad would be turning in his grave, utterly disgusted in the way that she was behaving. And I remember she picked up this wooden spoon and she hit me over the head with it. And it hurt, it hurt, but I wasn't going to let her know that it hurt. So I sort of laughed it off and said, you know, that didn't hurt. So she turned around to me and said, well, this one can and she did it again. Except the second time round, she took a chunk out of the wooden spoon, and I remember I stormed off through the hallway, and something to the effect of, "I'm going to report you to social services." And I remember she went and grabbed the phone, and she picked up the phone and said to me, "Well, I'll ring them for you, because I never wanted you anyway, you little..." And I think that's the first time I actually remember my mum physically being violent with me. Because before then, obviously, I had my dad there, so, you know, that wouldn't have happened. Not long, I'd say 4-5 weeks later is when she met would turn out to be my eventual stepfather. And that wasn't a barrel of laughs. Because let's put it this way, basically, as soon as he got his feet under the table, so to speak, slowly but surely, photographs of my dad, my dad's clothing, my dad's jewellery, watches, all started, let's say, vanishing. And I remember he turned around and said to me one day, "I'm not going to live in the shadows of a dead man." And I said, "That's no dead man, that's my dad." And effectively his words were to me, "Well, I'm your dad now." And that started a very slippery slope of things to come. You know, my mum would let him speak to me and treat me however she felt fit at the time, or whatever mood she was in. And let's say, even to this day, I still find it very, very difficult to talk about. But people close to me, especially my amazing fiance, has said that I need to, so to speak, exercise my demons. So that's what I'm trying to do, hopefully, by doing this video and subsequent ones that will follow. You know, I don't know if there's any of you out there that have been in the same position of such a young, tender age, losing a parent. I was very much a daddy's boy, so I particularly found that very difficult to cope with, even to this present day. We're talking nearly 32 years ago, and I still find it very, very difficult to cope with. You know, I've had numerous counselling sessions and things like that, but it doesn't seem to have helped. But I know in order to move forward that, you know, I need to talk and to open up about things that have happened. And I hope you guys will bear with me as I try to do this.